Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome to the stage Suraj Sharma with 4 New, and he's our main title, big sponsor, friend of the Super Conference. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome Mr. Sharma.
So I realized that this job is not about just creating a solution, but it's also educating people about why the solution is needed. So having said that, let me give you a little bit of an overview on the cryptocurrency, what the reality is of these blockchains and what's going on. It's great, it's highly efficient, makes our life auditable and all this awesome stuff. It has a crucial Achilles heel to its existence, and that is energy consumption. One transaction, Bitcoin transaction, that means if I just send you 1 Bitcoin, the number of block confirmations that have to occur to confirm that transaction happened, which can run in the hundreds of thousands, a few weeks later. The total energy consumption to confirm all those transactions back on September 30th, 2017 was equals to 7.5 households in the US for a day. September 30th is when we recorded that data. December 31st, the number turned to 10.5 US households. Jan 31st, it became 17.5 US households for a day. As of yesterday, it's 21.93 households. So, the more I thought about it and I analyzed the issue, obviously I, from my experience, have a tendency to go straight to the core of the problem. So having said that, the concept of waste to energy was born. Allow me to introduce to you 4 New. 4 New is a waste to energy treatment plant. What that means is we collect the waste, we burn it through an internal combustion chamber, pressurized internal combustion chamber. The gas is created, turn the turbines, and these turbines generate electricity. The revenue that is collected from the waste collections process runs the plant at break even. Therefore, all of the energy produced is free. Waste to energy plants have been in operational use for the past 70 years. There's over 83 of them right here in the United States of America. There's 16 in the UK. There's many more in Europe. India just ordered 100 waste to energy treatment plants to be installed in India across the whole nation. So governments are very well aware of this technology. It's little to known because talking about waste management usually isn't a sexy topic. Amongst all the various energy solutions out there, and there's some great ones: solar, geothermal, wind, water, all this is phenomenal stuff. But all this stuff is localized to natural resource availability. The beauty about waste is there's a ton of waste. Man is growing at record-breaking pace. Our population is expected to be close to 13 billion in the next 30 years. So I can assure you we will continue to be producing waste. We are running out of space in the United Kingdom. Landfills are expected to be full as of 2019 January. The oceans are pretty much floating with trash because you have nowhere else to put it. The ground, you look at images, satellite images and all sorts of images. Pacific Ocean, there are like really deserts of trash being formed on the inside. So really, we're killing this planet. I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to figure that one out. I think our solution is really meant for bringing 3 industries together. We had an option. We could produce this energy for free and sell it to the national grid in UK, or we could apply it to our own mining farm. And we decided to do the own mining farm because of the energy consumption. So what we then created was an ecosystem whereby production meets consumption. Our power plant and the mining farm is located on site. Envision this business model, figuratively speaking, as blockchain with a battery pack. You cannot have blockchain without a battery pack in this reality, guys. We're just draining too much power. It's going to take time for us to stabilize ourselves with cryptocurrencies and its future. So in the meantime, we're still transacting quite successfully. And I feel that, if I want to create a business personally, it would be created with immediate solutions, not something that is 5, 10, 20 years down the road. We waited for a little time. We said, let's get to the closing points. I don't want to come to the audience in the marketplace presenting an idea that is like 2 years into the future, because no one's going to be interested in that. So our power plant goes live June 2018. What does that mean? That means we have the infrastructure ready to go. The goal here was to create this ecosystem and really scale it up. So how did we decide to scale it up? We launched the KWatt coin. That is K-W-A-T-T, KWatt. KWatt stands for kilowatt of power. Our plant, we have 2 plants, they're both in UK. A plant that scale and scope can support a township, just to put it in perspective. From then, we did the math. We said, okay, so we've got all this free energy, now what? The KWatt coin is tokenized electricity. Our total supply is 300 million kilowatts, because our total output capacity is 300 million kilowatts in a year. So we pegged every single kilowatt to one coin. So when you buy the coin, you're buying tokenized electricity. This is a very crucial difference, and I want to articulate it, because you'll find many other coins with similar names and all energy focused. They're exchanges. That means they look for folks like us, they come to us and they say, give me your power, I got somebody else out there who's trying to buy it. And you transact on an exchange such as that. Therefore, it's an intermediary. We are the source. We are the producer of power, utility. We are tangible. We exist. We have footing in the real world as well as in the digital world. If I was to look at crypto as a new community, a new city that is being formed in the digital space, why isn't anyone focusing on solving for the power grid? And yeah, there are exchanges, but try getting an old boys club to give up 50 years of relationships or 30 years of relationships they've had and say, yeah, here's a new kid on the block. He's unproven. Things go up and down like crazy all day long when I look at these markets. But you know what? I'm going to break this 30-year conventional relationship for this new kid on the block. It's not easy to do, guys. I wouldn't take that risk. Why open this to a crowd sale? Why open this to a mass public peer-to-peer approach? To understand that, the KWatt coin, which is a smart contract, it's an ERC20 smart contract. What that allows us to do is fractionalize kilowatt. So I am offering, through the smart contract, is a power purchase agreement. What you're doing is you have a power purchase agreement to buy the energy that is being produced by the plant. As we evolve through life, which we are expected to continue doing, we will require more and more power, because that's what sustains a higher quality of life. So some of this may become very basic and very straightforward dialogues. The reason I'm articulating it so much is to express to everybody the permanence of the solution that I'm actually presenting here. A power plant can last much longer than 50 years. So we're not talking about something where, a minimal impact here. It's like once you do this, it's going to be here for a long time. And if you maintain upgrades and you keep it going, you should be able to extend that life far beyond that. So this is a generational move that I'm suggesting. And not just suggesting, but acting on it as well. Not only have I had my family members invest in this project, I've also brought some very close friends and investors into this project. So the KWatt coin smart contract, tokenized electricity, cryptocurrencies for the first time allowed us to fractionalize something that was historically available to the big boys. It's now available to every boy and girl. So from there, we then decided, let's talk about the market. What is going through cryptocurrencies right now? These digital assets that have been recently born as an asset class. This never existed before, guys. There are only 5 asset classes. The first one is stocks. You all know what stocks are. The second one is bonds. And that's debt instruments, IOUs. Third one is commodities. Commodities are your oil, gas, wheat, whatever you consume on a day-to-day basis. The fourth one, which was a more recent evolution, was alternative investments. Digital assets being the fifth one. So long story short being so, in human history, and I just mapped out the last 300 years in financial innovation that has occurred, there hasn't been a new asset class. That's what this is, digital assets, the birth of something brand new. We're going through the evolutionary process. So when I look at the markets and I study its impact and I see this thing going crazy every day, I find it really awkward. I'm like, wait a minute, so in October, Ethereum was like 200 and in December, it's worth 1,300. Like, why? We need market making because market making is a stability feature. What you want is that institutional capital. Because when institutional capital comes in, it's not just about the big boy, Wall Street, the devil's. No. What's here is continuity. And we need that, believe it or not. Without that, you're going to have volatility. Volatility will never allow cryptocurrency to become widely accepted. It will always be a gambling play. Hey, I can make a quick buck, let me just go and trade really quick. That's not what I'm looking to build a business around or my personal family legacy behind. I'm not into gambling and I'd rather not waste my time building it. So when I started thinking about this, SEC compliance is a good thing because something like this allows institutions to feel comfortable because institutions are not playing with their own capital. They're playing with investor capital, someone else's money. They have a fiduciary obligation to that somebody else to go back to that person and say, I made a wise decision for you. And this is why I did it. So we need market makers, we need institutional capital, and there's big banks waiting on the sidelines, and I'm working on the entire supply chain to bring it all together. So that in a nutshell, and it's a very big nutshell that I just laid upon all you guys, is Fonyu and the KWatt coin. Now, I would like to allow you guys the opportunity to ask me any questions so I can help address them and clear this up a little bit further for you guys. So do you have any questions? So, Power Ledger, WePower, all these other guys out there, they're exchanges, the middlemen. We would be a producer. So in that regard, we're the source. So that's distinction number one. Distinction number two, we have a closed loop ecosystem, power plant, mining farm, and then as this company grows and brings in other aspects, there'll be other things brought in onto our own blockchain. Power production and delivery is a very localized mechanism, historically speaking. As I started to look at the business model, I learned there was something amazing I can do here. I can scale up a localized solution via the token. So what that basically means is our plant produces the power that gets sold to the national grid. National grid then pays for the electricity that you just sold into it. That monetary benefit that's happened can now act as a treasury reserve to support the coin. So there are certain applications of the coin that you can have. One is you can use it, and the power purchase agreement is giving you the ability to buy your power, right? So I'm selling you goods and services. I'm not selling any equity in this company, in this plant. The plant assets are just that, assets that depreciate over time. But you would be able to take this token and basically use that power that you have within the token, and it'd be backed by the cash flow from the national grid to basically support your electric bills globally. So if you had an energy bill in the United States, and let's say your US bill was $100, because you used, I'm just making numbers up here, totally hypothetical, $100, you used 100 kilowatts, let's say you own 100 kWatts, we would basically sell the 100 kWatts and you get for you the funding that received from that, remit it out to you, and you would then be having the capital to pay your electric bill here in the US. So, United Kingdom is extremely regulated. It would be considered a developed country by most standards. It has a very long history. Having said that, in order to even have a licensed facility, you need to have a substation and full connectivity to the grid. So the site already has that. We purchased the site done, preset. This is where I'll bring the transactional guy out. When we identify location sites, we're not looking to walk into raw land and like take shovels and pickaxes and like put these lines. That's not the business I'm in. The business I want to be in is just walk in, buy property, fully set up, fully licensed, fully substationed up. So all I got to do is just put basic infrastructure up, bring in plant equipment, and get the process started of generating electricity. So we actually do have multiple amounts of sites available that are fully licensed and set up for this. Reason being, there's currently a 40% energy gap in the United Kingdom. Plus, the United Kingdom just passed a law that says 2040, all cars have to be electric cars. That will put additional pressure on the electric grid, which cannot service. Also, UK opened up its energy grid to private investment. If you look in the United States, a lot of this is municipal backed, agency backed. So entering into new markets will take time. There is no easy, quick solution here, guys. I don't see how this is sustainable, even with a small amount of energy. You're basically taking a lot of energy from the grid that already has a 40% global energy gap that we're trying to solve for. That basically means food isn't reaching where it needs to reach. There's already a lot of burden. And what you're asking to do is put more burden just because of privacy and anonymity. And governments don't like that, because governments are saying, great, you want your identification private and you want to move your money fast. Buddy, guess what? There's like other things going on here that are more important. Bottom line is, energy is being consumed. It's not something we can ignore. Proof of work, proof of stake, these are all great points. And we can get into the weeds and minutiae another day. But we have a problem that we are solving for in a scalable way, and that is undeniable. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, just give Mr. Sharma a big round of applause. Very important.